Roman Emperor Charlemagne. His speech is an overview of my reign. Once again, the Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne.
Yay! You better rise when I come up to speak.
All rise.
All rise.
It's not working.
There were no libertarians in my empires. They were all dead for some reason.
I'd rather watch you than Judge jumping over. Seated.
And everybody sees that. If you can't, too bad. As you can see, they don't make crowns as they used to 1,000 years ago. One thing before I get too much into this. When you're the king, everyone is always trying to kill you. So if you have questions for me and want to speak with me after the meeting, please only approach me from the front. Because if you come from the back, I react quickly and kill you, they won't let me speak at any more of these meetings. So please be careful. I was the king of the Franks, a German tribe from 764 to 814 AD. We were based in what was called Frankland. Today it's called France. But of course we were German. If you're French, you're really German. My capital city was here in Aachen, which is currently in modern Germany near the Belgian border. My family, the Carolingian dynasty, conquered an empire that included almost all the German peoples of Western Europe. Down this area, right down over here, and down into Italy, which had been ruled by the German tribes, the Lombards. So, of course, if you're Italian, you're really German. And down over here, we never did conquer Spain. We tried, never conquered it, but Spain was ruled by the Visigoths, a German tribe. Guess what? If you're Spanish, you're German. And up here to this area, we never conquered the British Isles. Of course, they were ruled by the Anglo-Saxons, the Germans. If you're English, you're German. Everybody is German. And that's the Slavs who lived out here, the Slavs. They weren't German. But my family, see, Carolingian, we was the greatest defenders of the Catholic Church in the history of the world. So Pope Leo III crowned me on Christmas Day in 800 AD as the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, which was what I already controlled when he crowned me. And from that day, 800 AD, that Holy Roman Empire lasted for 1,000 years, until it was dissolved by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1805. But when he crowned me in the Vatican, this was the sword that I used. So the sword, can you imagine? This was probably like $150 million. The sword that I had when I was crowned Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. What happened to my empire is that my 3 sons had a civil war and broke the empire into 3 countries, France, Germany, and Italy. This is the very origin of those countries. So you're getting an idea of why I am called Charlemagne, Charles the Great. I invented Europe. My era is sometimes called the Dark Ages. This is a lie. Now, of course, there was when we German barbarian tribes took over from the Roman Empire, that there was a downturn in civilization, and I was somewhat of a barbarian king too, but I murdered and tortured way less people than the other barbarian kings. And I am personally responsible for bringing learning back to Europe. I created universities and encouraged scholarship. My era is actually called the Carolingian Renaissance. And I forced my Frankish people to speak Latin's the language of the church, not this barbarian tongue German. But the Franks weren't very smart, and the Latin gradually degenerated into this vulgar tongue, French. Yeah. My biggest enemies was the Saxons, who lived in northern Germany. It's the same Saxons that went to England, but most of them stayed here. And they were pagan dogs who refused to accept the Lord Jesus Christ for decades. You know how I finally defeated the Saxons? I invited all their leaders to a peace conference. They came unarmed, and then I ambushed them and slaughtered every one of them. And then it was easy to defeat the Saxons. And then I had my men take the survivors and dunk them in the water to baptize them. But I think they were just pretending to be Christians after that. A few centuries later, they revolted again from the church and became Protestants. Yeah. Now, to give you an idea of how important I am, if you visit Paris, to this very day, Paris is right here, but Paris was just a little village when I was king. But there is a giant statue of me riding on my horse. While you're visiting my statue, you might want to take a quick look at this cathedral that happens to be right next to my statue. It's called Notre Dame. That was a joke. Because thousands of people that come from all over the world every day to spend hours and hours in Notre Dame, and if I'm lucky, I might take a quick look at my statue. But if it wasn't for me, remember I said he was the greatest defenders of the Catholic Church. If it wasn't for me, Notre Dame would not be there. Instead, there would be a very big, very beautiful mosque. Now, these days, you can't actually stand in front of my statue. You can only stand behind it because there's all this construction going on. So all you can do is stand behind my statue and look at my horse's arse. I'll pass this around so you can get a better look of my horse's arse. And here is the front view of the statue. You'll notice here, you'll see Notre Dame in the background. You only get a little tiny, see my head a little behind the horse's head. What happened was, in order to take this picture, I had to sneak through the police barricade. I ran up really quick and snapped the picture really quickly and ran like hell. Because I know, because I snuck through police barricades, if I caught me, I'd be arrested and tortured. They don't torture people for things like that anymore, do they? Society's getting way too permissive. Pass this around. Front view of the statue. Now, also last May, a picture was taken in Berlin, where me and my best friend, Todd Carpien, and his wife were visiting the German History Museum in Berlin. And we took some pictures. Here's a picture of Todd Carpien in front of a statue of me in the Berlin history. Berlin was part of my empire, but it was also just a little village when I was king. And here's another picture of Todd standing in front of my portrait, which his wife took. Now you'll notice I don't look much like my portrait anymore. But you know, people change a lot in 1,200 years. Do you know how people sometimes start to look like their dog? But the amazing thing is, I look much more like my best friend Todd Carpien than I do like myself 1,200 years ago. It's a very strange thing. Well, I hope you learned something about your own history. And just remember, if you have questions and want to talk to me after the meeting, only approach me from the front.